Hello guys, welcome to my channel Lucid Fanfic, and if you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss out on our latest videos. So be sure to stick around until the end, and let's get started. After Maki's sudden attack, Izuku couldn't shake the uneasy feeling creeping into his thoughts. He glanced between Maki and Junko, a nagging worry gnawing at him. What just happened? They've fought before, but never like this. It's never gotten physical. Junko's smirk widened as she pressed herself lightly but intimately against Izuku's chest. "Oh, Izuku," she purred, her voice dripping with mischief. "I'm just fine. I may have ruffled someone's feathers, though." Her eyes glowed with a sinister glee as she glanced toward Maki, who caught the look and silently retreated into Sato's kitchen. Izuku chuckled nervously, trying to ease the tension. "Are you sure?" That was a pretty loud thud. It sounded like it really hurt. His voice wavered with concern, his unease only growing as Junko continued to invade his personal space. "Cough, cough," Sato interjected, moving Junko aside by the shoulders with a firm yet subtle force. "I think you've gotten a bit too close to my sugar," she hissed under her breath, her sweet smile hiding a murderous glare aimed straight at Junko. Junko and Sato's argument escalated quickly, their voices sharp and cutting through the tension in the room. "Maybe you're just too clingy for Izuku. Boys don't like girls who are constantly all over them 24/7, Junko taunted, her smirk widening as she leaned in closer, eyes gleaming with mischief. "Clingy? I am not clingy. I'm looking after my lover," Sato snapped back, her voice rising with indignation. Junko's grin grew even more mocking. "Only clingy girls say that." "They do not." Sato's face flushed a deep red, her embarrassment only fueling her anger. Her fists clenched tightly at her sides, trembling with barely contained frustration. "What's wrong with that? He loves me. I need to keep him safe." Her voice wavered with a mix of desperation and possessiveness, her eyes shining with the fierce determination of someone who would do anything to protect what was hers. Before wandering off, Izuku gently kissed his girlfriend on the head. She was too consumed with anger at Junko to notice the affectionate gesture. He quietly slipped away, intent on checking on Maki, while Yuno, Makuro, and Mikan trailed behind him, curiosity piqued. Yuno's face was unnaturally pale, a color she desperately tried to mask. Her eyes never left the back of Izuku's head, filled with a possessive and nearly deranged intensity, stress threatening to consume her. "I hope Maki's okay. I'm going to talk to her." "I'm worried," Izuku said, glancing back at the trio Mikan, Yuno, and Makuro. "Worried? Don't be worried, my dear, don't." Yuno's voice wavered, her internal turmoil spilling out. Izuku looked at her, his eyes full of innocent concern. "Nothing." Yuno's expression snapped into a disturbingly sweet smile the moment Izuku looked her way. "You should absolutely talk to Maki, Izuku. She'll appreciate it. I'm sure." "You think so?" Izuku scratched his head, uncertainty in his voice. "I maybe." Mikan suddenly blurted out, her cheeks turning a deep shade of pink. "Why, you're so kind. I am sure she wouldn't mind talking to you. Just being around you, it makes everything feel better, safer somehow. Why, you're like a light that chases away all the scary things in the dark. Why, you're really, really kind." Izuku's face flushed red at Mikan's comment, his finger nervously scratching his cheek as he tried to hold a kind smile. He glanced toward the kitchen, where Maki was sipping something, her eyes fixed on the stove with an intensity that made Izuku uneasy. "What is it?" Maki groaned when she noticed Izuku standing there. "What do you want? Do you have a death wish?" "What? No. I just wanted to know what happened." Makuro's hand was hurt, the glass was broken, and you looked. Izuku's voice trailed off as he tried to find the right words, his body language showing genuine concern. His green eyes reflected his worry. "Very upset. What happened?" You're an idiot," Maki sighed, her tone laced with frustration. "Caring for the wrong people. I care for everyone, even you." Izuku paused, confusion spreading across his face. "Caring for the wrong people?" Maki shook her head, her expression growing colder. "I didn't ask for your concern, and I never wanted it. You're completely blind to the mess you're walking into." She stepped closer, now standing face to face with him, though he was a few inches taller. Her eyes, however, were burning with a mix of anger and a flicker of something that looked almost like hesitation. "Stop with the puppy eyes," Maki whispered, grabbing his collar. "Don't trust Junko. I don't trust her. She's mischievous. Dangerous. I don't care about your safety because I am saying this idiot. What? Izuku stammered, his shock evident as Maki continued. Just be careful, you idiot, Maki muttered, her eyes flicking up to meet his for a brief moment. In that fleeting glance, Izuku saw something he rarely saw in Maki, a worried, almost vulnerable look. Her face flushed with a small, red blush of annoyance as she quickly looked away. Don't trust Junko? Izuku repeated in his head, the words echoing with confusion. Could he really not trust Junko? He saw everyone in their group as friends, with Sato as his girlfriend. But Maki's warning lingered in his mind, leaving him more uncertain than ever. As Maki walked past Izuku, Mikan, Yuno, and Makuro exchanged glances, their thoughts aligned in silent curiosity. What did Maki say? I hope they didn't have an argument, Mikan whispered softly, her voice trembling with worry. TSK. Yuno bit down on her thumbnail, her eyes narrowing in frustration. She swallowed hard, trying to suppress the paranoia swirling in her mind about Izuku's safety. Izuku wouldn't argue. He's too kind for that, too kind to ever start anything like that, she muttered, her voice strained with a mix of anger and fear. Makuro, however, remained silent, her expression unreadable as she observed the others, her mind calculating what Maki's words might mean. Makuro's voice was flat, indifferent. I don't care if they argue. Just don't drag me into it, nurse. And my name is Mikan, she stammered, her eyes welling up with tears. And I'm sorry, her voice trembled, the apology slipping out in a sad, quiet tone. Without a word, Yuno wandered off, her expression unreadable. Mikan and Makuro noticed, but they didn't reach Yuno. She hurried to the bathroom, shutting the door as softly as possible, her eyes scanning every inch of the room with an unsettling intensity. Yuno's chest tightened with pain and anxiety, her thoughts spiraling out of control. Who is going to kill Izuku? Who? Her voice trembled, panic rising in her throat. Maki? Sato? Junko? These girls, they can't be near him. They're all a threat. All of them. I need to get rid of them. Izuku, please understand it's for your safety. But if Izuku notices anyone missing, he'll get worried. Her voice trailed off as she stumbled toward the sink, turning on the hot water. Steam began to rise as she splashed the warm water on her face, her thoughts racing. I love you, Izuku, I have to protect you. If I watch over you, I can see who'll try to hurt you. I won't let them kill you. It's all for love. I'll protect you. The warmth of the water soothed her frayed nerves, and a twisted smile spread across her face. Nobody is going to kill you, she whispered, her voice dripping with sweet, eerie affection. Yuno's smile widened, hearts forming in her pupils as her cheeks flushed a rosy pink. Her lips moved, forming the words she held dear. Izuku, we're going to be together forever soon, I promise. Paranoia. And then All Might used his signature move, did you know? During his time in America, he actually used Izuku's face lit up with excitement, his features shifting into an exaggerated yet surprisingly accurate impression of All Might. California smash, ahaha, he shouted, mimicking the hero's booming voice. Dude, you're like a walking fanboy. Junko's expression twisted into one of mild disgust. I can't decide if that's adorable or just plain creepy. She'll let my sugar be happy, it is cute, Sato chimed in, pressing his arm between her chest. Izuku's face instantly flushed, his expression frozen in shock. Despite everything that had happened in the past few months, he was still the same old Midoriya, awkward and easily flustered. Well, actually, it took me years to master the art of, he stammered, trying to regain his composure. He's rambling again, Makuro sighed, her eyes narrowing in irritation. Izuku's words were like an annoying fly buzzing around her head as he went on about the years he spent practicing All Might's smile in the mirror. Oh, Junko teased, flashing her nails with a sly grin. Nerdy boys like you are always so talkative. But it's just as easy to make them shut up. Her chest subtly bounced as she leaned in, her eyes brimming with flirtation, filled with 1,000 lustful ideas. Maki's eyes narrowed into a sharp glare, a slight twitch betraying her irritation. Junko, as always, you're just endlessly annoying. Maybe you should learn to keep your rambling to yourself. Her attention shifted to Yuno, who was hovering too close to Sato, their shoulders almost touching. The proximity and the tension between them fell off. Maki's keen instincts detected Yuno's underlying distress, an anxiety that seemed intensely focused on Izuku. It was clear to Maki that whatever was troubling Yuno had everything to do with him. As the group neared Izuku's apartment, it became clear that he had no way to offer them a ride home, including his girlfriend, Sato, who had earlier declined his offer and all suggestions to take her home. Once they reached Izuku's apartment, the group said their goodbyes and left for the night. Izuku's smile lingered as they watched him with various reactions. Makuro and Junko both displayed faint expressions of disgust, and the mood subtly shifted. When Izuku kissed Sato goodbye and wished everyone a safe trip, the atmosphere changed noticeably. The group of girls walked together in silence, the quiet of the empty streets surrounding Izuku's apartment enveloping them. Mikon, unable to bear the tense quiet, broke the silence with an awkward, yet earnest, comment. I feel anxious. Junko, rolling her eyes, shot Mikon a withering look. Girl, nobody cares about your feelings right now. Just keep it to yourself. She flashed Mikon a dismissive middle finger and pressed her other finger to her lips, signaling for silence. Well, it seems we have nothing to talk about now that Izuku isn't here, Yuno said suddenly, her voice sweet and deceptively innocent, masking the underlying tension she felt. To Maki, the conversation felt like a mask hiding a true face, shrouded in mystery. Nothing worth discussing, Makuro sighed dismissively. With or without him, he's just a waste of time for me and Junko. I never said that, Junko interjected, smacking the back of Makuro's head playfully. Who do you take me for? I thrive on the thrill of romance, she laughed loudly, her voice echoing with mischief. Romance? Sato's eyes widened with interest. What about romance? Mikon stammered, her voice cracking slightly. Her cheeks flushed a deep red, and her thoughts immediately drifted to Izuku. I guess it's best if we all get some rest, Junko said, her gaze shifting between Sato and Yuno. I'm just rambling, after all. If only a certain green-haired boy were here to keep my mouth occupied. Junko Sato's face turned a furious shade of red. You damn in slot, she paused, her rage palpable as she grabbed Junko by the shoulders and leaned in close, her anger barely contained. What are you trying to get at? Sato's voice shifted, her eyes narrowing with possessiveness and frustration. Leave my sweet boy out of your sultry jokes. Your attempts at humor are becoming repetitive and annoying. Junko chuckled playfully, her eyes gleaming with mischief. I did it again, she purred, her tone laced with a teasing edge. I might have pushed your buttons a bit too far, or maybe it's just your, let's say, your hormonal state. But hey, it's all part of the game, right? We're just having a bit of fun. She leaned in closer, her voice dropping to a conspiratorial whisper. So, how faithful do you really think Izuku is to you? Boys are just like girls, they have their own desires and temptations. Unless Junko's smirk widened, her eyes glinting with a knowing look. I'll leave that to you to ponder. Deep down, you know it's true, just as much as I do. Mikon burst into tears, her voice trembling with distress. Izuku wouldn't want us fighting like this, please. Don't fight, he'll be so mad at me. I don't want Izuku to be upset with me. Her sobs came in ragged gasps as she continued. Friends, don't fight, friends, don't fight. Her voice grew increasingly frantic, her words tumbling out in a jumbled, repetitive whisper. Her eyes, wide and glassy, spun with a chaotic mix of fear and confusion. The world around her seemed to spin uncontrollably, her thoughts of Izuku becoming a blur of anxiety and desperation. Makuro's voice was monotone and direct as she fixed her gaze on Sato, her expression unchanging. Sister, just give the word, and her hands will no longer be attached to her body. Fighting like this already? I'm starting to question our intentions with Izuku. It's clear now that it's not about what we think we want, but rather what we truly longing from him. Are we genuinely with Izuku, or are we just pursuing him for our own reasons? After him, questioning our desires? What exactly are we all planning? Yuno's eyes lost their innocent, girly sparkle and turned into a piercing, frustrated glare. Her voice laced with anger, she demanded, Are you planning to kill him, Maki? Makuro Junko, just who is going to do it, and who will actually go through with it? The group of girls all fell silent. Mikon's eyes gave nothing but a despair. Her expression held concern. She clearly wanted to speak, but no words came out. The world fell silent at Yuno's words. Junko's eyes widened in playful curiosity. Is he really going to die? You seem so sure of it. Do you think one of us will be the one to do it? She laughed loudly, her tone dripping with mockery. What is this among us? Is one of us hiding behind a mask? Junko's eyes sparkled mischievously as she sauntered up to Yuno, her chest pressing into Yuno's. He's our friend, right? Friends don't kill friends, do they? I can see it in all of our faces. We all have different motives from what Izuku perceives. Junko turned away from Yuno, her eyes scanning the rest of the group: Mikon, Maki, Sato, Yuno, and Makuro as she waved a pink cell phone with a dramatic flourish. Junko continued with a smirk, what are we all thinking? Izuku is supposed to die tomorrow, but your future-telling quirk says otherwise. Are you sure your quirk is accurate, or is there something we're missing? Junko placed her hands on her hips, her expression a mix of mock seriousness and amusement. Izuku's dying tomorrow, not today. What? Sato's eyes widened in panic. Don't joke like that, it can't be true. Junko shrugged nonchalantly. That's not what this little device says, she said with a sigh. Honestly, do you even realize how creepy and stalkerish your quirk is? Mikon's hands shook uncontrollably, her voice trembling as she spoke. I don't get it. Why is Izuku going to die? Her eyes welled up with tears, and she clutched her hair tightly, her breath coming in frantic gasps. Please, someone explain. I can't bear the thought of losing him. Her voice broke into a desperate whisper, reflecting her deep fear and confusion. Yuno's face hardened with resolve as she reached for her cell phone. How did you get a hold of this? Her voice was edged with frustration and urgency, her eyes narrowing into a fierce glare as she stared directly at Junko. The secret was out, and Yuno's anxiety was palpable. Junko's eyes glinted with a wicked spark as she flashed Yuno a sly grin. Oh, you know me, never underestimate a girl's knack for getting what she wants. Her laughter was a playful taunt. So what's this? Your little device reveals that Izuku is feeling guilty for not walking us all home. How adorable. You're practically a mind reader. With a quirk like yours, you must know every secret he hides, his every whim, his deepest fears. You know him better than he knows himself. How thrillingly creepy. Yuno's eyes narrowed with a fierce glare as she reached for her cell phone. Give it back, she snapped, her voice cold and commanding. You shouldn't be touching things that aren't yours. Return my cell phone, or I swear, I'll make you regret ever speaking again. I'll kill you. Maki's eyes flicked between Yuno and Junko, her arms crossed tightly as she processed Junko's words. What the hell are you talking about? She demanded, her voice laced with frustration. A quirk that knows Izuku's whereabouts at all times? That's impossible. That shouldn't be a thing. Her gaze grew more intense as she tried to grasp the implications of Junko's revelation. Makuro observed Yuno's desperate attempts to retrieve her cell phone from Junko, her tone dry and clinical. That's very stalkerish, she said, her eyes narrowing. No matter where Izuku goes, she'll always know. Not quite, Junko said, waving her hand dismissively and making Yuno step back. With a snap of her fingers, glasses appeared on her face, and her outfit transformed into that of a provocative teacher, her cleavage barely contained by her blouse. Future sight, huh? Your quirk is drawn to Izuku, but it only reveals future events in vague diary entries. You know he's going to die, but you don't know when or how. The future is shrouded in mystery. You might think time and events can be altered by the butterfly effect, but if I told you these events wouldn't change anything, you wouldn't believe me. Junko then pulled out a whiteboard from thin air, which displayed a crudely drawn image of Izuku entering a store. See, your future sight hints that Izuku is at a store, but which store? A sex shop? A candy store? Walmart? Your quirk won't ever tell you the exact details. It can only provide vague hints, never the full picture. Sister Makuro said, her voice steady and focused as she absorbed Junko's explanation. What the hell? Maki muttered, scratching her head in frustration. This is getting ridiculous, Junko. Junko's eyes gleamed with a wild excitement as she laughed, her voice brimming with manic energy. Let me break it down for you in simpler terms. Future sight gives you glimpses of what might happen, but it only offers fragments about Izuku's future. It never reveals the full picture of how events will unfold. She shivered with a mix of thrill and despair, her hands rubbing her shoulders rapidly as she drooled with fervent insanity. We know that Izuku's death is coming, but the exact time? That's a mystery. There's nothing we can do to prevent it. I can almost taste the despair that awaits us all. Mikon trembled, clutching herself as though she were chilled to the bone. What are we going to do? Her voice was a whisper of desperation. Can we do something? Sato's eyes blazed with fury as she glared at Yuno, her anger palpable. Junko, she spat the name with venom. Her gaze locked onto Yuno with a lethal intensity. The thought of Izuku being taken from her ignited her rage and determination. I will do whatever it takes to protect my precious Izuku. I refuse to let your so-called future take him away from me. Izuku won't die. He can't. If he dies, I die with him. Yuno's eyes widened at Sato's words, her body twitching in shock. Maki sighed, her face contorting with a mix of disdain and determination. I see, she muttered, turning away from the group. Her thoughts, however, were consumed by a fierce resolve. Izuku, you won't die. You didn't rescue me for nothing. I didn't train you just for you to perish with your skills. I won't let that happen. Not while I'm around. You'll be safe, no matter what. Tomorrow, we'll be at Izuku's place first thing at sunrise, Maki declared with unwavering resolve. Izuku will not die, no matter what. I'll make sure of it. Mikon glanced upward, her face tinged with a nervous blue. Why, yeah, she stammered. We can do something. We can. Boring, but whatever. Junko rolled her eyes dismissively. We'll see if we're ready to change fate. She tossed Yuno's phone back to her with a smirk. Such a scary quirk. You must really love keeping tabs on him. Girls will be girls. Sato began, but stopped herself, her focus shifting to the thought of her beloved. My darling, he's more important. The group exuded an air of uncertainty. Mikon clutched herself, her nervousness palpable. Maki's expression was grim and resolute. Sato's face was a mask of cold determination, while Yuno's demeanor balanced between stability and anxiety, her mind racing despite her calm exterior. Mukuro and Junko displayed their usual, detached expressions. Yuno remained silent, and as the girls started to head home, their minds were united by a single resolve: protect Izuku. Midnight. Darling, Yuno thought in silence, standing at the foot of Izuku's bed. You won't die with any other girl. You'll die with me. Only me. She hovered over the sleeping Izuku, her pink eyes glowing softly in the darkness. Izuku remained peacefully unaware, sound asleep. I know everything, my dear. I know she isn't your girlfriend. I am Yuno just once. Call my name, devote yourself to me. Yuno's thoughts were a private whisper, her hand gently brushing Izuku's hair, careful not to wake him. I love you. Darling, our future won't steal you from me, I promise. I know everything, even about that woman who dared to hurt you. Nothing will stay hidden when we're together. I'll protect you from everyone. It'll be just like before. Just us, and only us. She leaned down, inhaling the fresh scent of Izuku. I love you, she murmured, pressing a soft kiss on his forehead. Izuku shifted slightly, mumbling something about an unlimited rare, all-might figure. Yuno watched him with a quiet, calm intensity, wanting so badly to speak her mind, but knowing it would wake him. You look so cute when you sleep like that. Tomorrow, you won't die. I'll be right by your side. Your wife will protect you. With a soft smile, Yuno placed Izuku's phone back on his desk, exactly where it belonged. I can't lose you. I won't lose you, she whispered, her voice tinged with obsession. Sweet dreams, my love. I love you more than anything. If only I could hear you say it back, just once. Her eyes lingered on him, her expression a mix of longing and resolve. But don't worry, you will. Soon, you'll see that we're meant to be together. No one else will come between us. Not now, not ever. The next day, on the bus, I wonder what's going on. Even my girlfriend feels off today. Izuku murmured in his mind as he sat in his seat. Yuno and Sato were pressed close to him, shoulder to shoulder, with Maki and Mikon sitting beside them. Junko and Mukuro sat on the other side of Yuno. Before the bus trip, I couldn't become class president. I think Ida's more suited for that. I'm fine just the way I am. Izuku blinked shyly. Though Maki and Sato really wanted me to be he. I swear they think too highly of me sometimes. He blushed as the bus filled with the chatter of Class 1A. Sato's shoulder and head gently rested against his. She's a girl. My girlfriend is resting her head on me, eh? She's so precious. Stop being lovely, dovey, Bakugo shouted at Izuku and the rest of the Yandere girls. I don't agree with you because you SCK, Junko shot back, giving Bakugo a thumbs down and sticking her tongue out. Holy CRP, we're almost there, Kaminari exclaimed excitedly. I wonder what we'll do. I didn't see All Might today, Mineta pointed out, sitting next to Kaminari while secretly eyeing Izuku, who was surrounded by 6 girls: Yuno, Sato, Maki, Mikan, Junko, Makuro. Lucky BSDRD, he muttered, clenching his fist and looking up to the gods, silently begging to be like Izuku. The bus soon arrives at USJ. Universal Studio Japan. Maybe. No, it isn't. I wonder what's going on. Even my girlfriend feels off today. Izuku murmured as he sat in his seat. Yuno and Sato were pressed close to him, shoulder to shoulder, with Maki and Mikan sitting beside them. Junko and Makuro sat on the other side of Yuno. Before the bus trip, I couldn't become class president. I think Ida's more suited for that. I'm fine just the way I am, Izuku blinked shyly. Though Maki and Sato really wanted me to be he. I swear they think too highly of me sometimes. He blushed as the bus filled with the chatter of Class 1A. Sato's shoulder and head gently rested against his. She's a girl, my girlfriend is resting her head on me, eh? She's so precious. Stop being lovely, Dovey, Bakugo shouted at Izuku and the rest of the Yandere girls. I don't agree with you because you SCK, Junko shot back, giving Bakugo a thumbs down and sticking her tongue out. Holy CRP, we're almost there, Kaminari exclaimed excitedly. I wonder what we'll do. I didn't see All Might today, Mineta pointed out, sitting next to Kaminari while secretly eyeing Izuku, who was surrounded by 6 girls. Lucky BSDRD, he muttered, clenching his fist and looking up to the gods, silently begging to be like Izuku. Class 1A arrived at the massive, stadium-like building known as USJ. Yuno stayed close to Izuku, and the other girls hovered near him, making Izuku slightly confused by their closeness, but he chose not to pay too much attention to it. As the class walked forward, they noticed a figure in an astronaut suit waving at them. What? Izuku's eyes lit up, startling the girls around him. What's wrong? Yuno and Sato immediately grabbed onto his arms, but Sato's grip was firmer, almost protective. Izuku's excitement spilled out. That's 13, his fists clenched with enthusiasm, stars practically shining in his eyes. 13 is the space hero. Their quirk is black hole. It can create an actual black hole, and no one knows where the objects that get SCKD and go. There are so many theories, but my guess is nothing that enters can ever come back. Terrifying, right? His enthusiasm was met with mixed reactions from the girls. Sato and Yuno tried to share in his excitement, while Junko and Makuro gave him cringed looks. Junko let out a dramatic sigh, rolling her eyes. Oh please, spare me the hero worship, she muttered, her voice dripping with mock boredom as she glanced at Izuku's starry-eyed expression. Space hero this, space hero that, honestly, what's the big deal? As they entered the massive facility, Junko's disinterest was palpable, even as 13 began addressing Class 1A. Mikan stayed close to 13 and Aizawa, who, unsurprisingly, looked like he could use a solid hour or 3 of sleep. Oh, for despair's sake, Junko groaned, rolling her eyes dramatically. This is so lame. Welcome, Class 1A, to USJ, where your training will take place. 13's cheerful voice echoed through the facility. Universal Mineta started with a grin, ready for his punchline. Studio Kaminari chimed in, slinging his arm around Mineta's shoulder with a proud smirk. Japan, they both shouted, clearly enjoying their own joke. 13 chuckled softly, amused by their antics. Cute, but I promise this is far more thrilling than Universal Studios Japan. Welcome to the unforeseen simulation joint. Kaminari and Mineta groaned, their shoulders sagging in unison, visibly let down. Junko, glaring at them with disdain, muttered under her breath, idiots. This place could turn you into paste, and you're joking about amusement parks. 13 gestured to the vast facility as they spoke, their voice calm but commanding. This is where your training will take place, the unforeseen simulation joint. It contains various weather conditions and environments. Believe it or not, some quirks are affected by the environment. Certain quirks may become less effective in some areas, while others can thrive in different conditions. Aizawa, standing nearby with his usual tired expression, added, you'll be training your quirks here. Villains will exploit everything at their disposal to gain the upper hand, but hero work isn't just about raw power. It's about strategy and using your surroundings effectively. 13 nodded in agreement with Aizawa, continuing, That's why the different zones of USJ exist to test how you handle environmental challenges. It's crucial that you gain experience in unpredictable situations. Remember, your powers aren't meant to harm others. I hope by the time you leave here, you understand that your abilities are meant to help, to protect those in need. Izuku pressed his thumb to his chin, deep in thought, carefully processing 13's words. His eyes carried a seriousness that didn't go unnoticed by Maki, who observed him quietly as Class 1A absorbed the details of USJ. Suddenly, Yuno's phone buzzed, breaking the silence. Mikan, Sato, Makuro, and Junko all turned to Yuno. Makuro's forehead glistened with sweat, her body instinctively tensing in a defensive stance. Sato shot a glance toward Izuku, her eyes narrowing in concern. And then it happened too fast for anyone to react properly. A swirling purple mist appeared, filling the center of USJ, followed by the sudden manifestation of villains emerging from portals. Kamari blinked in disbelief. "No way," Kamari muttered. "We even hired villains for our training?" Aizawa's brows furrowed, his eyes widening with sudden realization. "What?" he hissed. "BSDRDS, we're under attack." 13 immediately turned to the class, her voice calm but alert. "Alarms should be going off." Signals jammed. Yuno interrupted, her voice eerie and cold. She stared at Izuku with a chilling intensity. "Izuku, don't worry, I'll protect you." Her eyes held a dead, unwavering gaze, making Class 1A tense with unease. "I am protecting him," Sato barked, stepping in front of Yuno, her body shielding Izuku, her expression fierce and unyielding. Tension crackled in the air as everyone braced themselves for what was to come. "It doesn't matter," Kamari yelled, panic in his voice. "They're villains. Head for the exit, I'll hold them off," Aizawa commanded, already gearing up for a fight. "Then let me help," Izuku shouted, his voice filled with urgency as he looked at Aizawa. "That's a huge group, there's no way you can." "What?" the girls yelled in unison, panic flashing across their faces. We shouldn't get involved," yet Mikan stammered, grabbing Izuku's hand, her fear evident. "Nerd. Don't think you can just go fighting villains, you're not better than me," Bakugo barked, his voice filled with frustration. "We're heading for the exit," 13 ordered, her tone firm. "I can't get any signals through, just like Yuno said. We're jammed. They've blocked all communication to the outside." A red-haired boy looked startled. "Whoa, how'd you figure that out?" Izuku, Yuno murmured, turning toward him, her gaze intense. Class 1A exchanged confused glances, unsure of what Yuno meant, but her tone sent chills down their spines. "I don't want to leave Aizawa behind," Izuku muttered, his fists clenched, torn between protecting his classmates and helping his teacher. He turned away, his expression conflicted, but the girls quickly surrounded him, staying close, determined to ensure that no harm would come to him. Their collective resolve was clear: they wouldn't let Izuku die. Not today. "These villains shouldn't be your first fight." "Go, I've got this," Aizawa shouted, already rushing toward the center of USJ. Villains, scattered in groups, looked momentarily confused, unsure of what was happening. Then, from the shadows, a man stepped forward. His unsettling appearance caught everyone's attention. Hands covered his face, wrists, and other parts of his body, as if stitched together with disjointed pieces. Behind him loomed a monstrous bird-like creature, grotesque and muscular, its vacant gaze scanning the area as if searching for something it couldn't find. The man scratched his neck, irritated. "No," he groaned in annoyance, his scratching growing more aggressive. "I don't see him. Where's he? Where's that hero, the symbol of hope?" He paused, his scratching momentarily stilling as a twisted smile formed beneath the hand on his face. Kurogiri, he said, voice dripping with malice. "I guess we'll kill a few kids to draw him out. I'm sure he'll love that. Don't let any escape." Kurogiri, the mist-like figure standing by, gave a silent nod before enveloping the area in a dark, swirling fog. The man and the villains began spreading out, their sinister intentions clear as they prepared to wreak havoc across USJ. The students, panicked and desperate, rushed toward the exit with 13 leading the way. What? Yuno screamed as she glanced at her phone, her eyes widening in alarm. "Grab," she shouted, pulling Izuku back. But Kurogiri's mist had already enveloped the exit, blocking every hope of escape or call for help. "DM in," Sato cursed, pulling a candy from her pocket. This is terrible, darling. Get behind me, they won't take you away from me. Maki's eyes widened in realization. Wait, if he can rap here, that means he. Escape is futile, Hirojiri intoned coldly, his eyes narrowing as he spoke. Stay behind me, Class 1A13 ordered, extending her fingertips to create a suction that began to inhale Hirojiri's mist. AH13NO, don't do that. His quirk is rapping. He can rap anywhere. Izuku's voice trailed off in horror as he saw another rap form behind her. The suction tore through 13's suit, causing her to falter and fall, her quirk dissipating in defeat. BSDRD Bakugo roared, his frustration palpable. We'll crush you. Crush? The man with half-white, half-red hair spoke with chilling monotone confidence. I'll stop you from here. His presence exuded an eerie calm as the mist continued to spread. Izuku watched in shock as the mist enveloped the rest of Class 1A. Where's All Might? Not here, dumbass, Bakugo yelled back, rushing toward the mist. Kirishima followed Bakugo, but the mist overpowered them, pulling them away to an unknown location. Izuku cried out, his eyes wide with horror as he watched the mist tear through the chaos, pulling his classmates away one by one. Izuku Yuno's voice pierced through the confusion, her scream filled with desperation as she was dragged away. I won't let them take you from me. Her eyes were fierce, but tinged with a hint of panic. Idiot Maki's voice cut through the noise, filled with frustration and resolve. Stay strong, Izuku, I swear. I'll find a way to get to you, but her words were swallowed by the mist as she was pulled into its depths. Izuku Mikan's scream was heart-wrenching, her eyes wide with fear as she reached out desperately. Her silent plea seemed to echo in the air. Save me, help me. Izuku. Yararji Ino, Sato roared in defiance. Her face twisted with fury and panic as she struggled against the mist. I won't let you take me, I won't let you take him. Well, this is goodbye. Junko's voice was chillingly calm, her laughter carrying a hint of sadistic glee. Let's see how you all fare without me. Sister Makuro's cry was a mix of anguish and determination, but her words were abruptly cut off as she was enveloped by the mist. Izuku stood paralyzed, his heart pounding as he watched his friends and loved ones being pulled away right before his eyes. The overwhelming sight of their distress and his helplessness left him stunned. Before he could react, the mist enveloped him, dragging him into its inescapable embrace. Izuku found himself plummeting through the sky before crashing into the water below. Panic surged through him as he spotted a menacing shark villain closing in. Frantically, he swam to the surface, only to be rescued by a tongue that wrapped around his waist and lifted him out of the water. Thanks, Izuku gasped, relieved. His eyes widened as he saw Makuro. Makuro, he exclaimed, his face lighting up with joy as he held her shoulders. We have to find everyone else. Sister Junko is the main priority, Makuro stated, her expression impassive. Everyone Izuku insisted. But I understand. We need to stay calm and think this through. Yeah, Mineta chimed in. Well, for now, we're safe from those villains. We are, but I don't think it'll be for long, Izuku agreed, glancing around warily. Ribbit, I agree. Honestly, I don't understand why they put me here in this water-based area, Azui said, her tone puzzled. Izuku's eyes suddenly lit up. That's right. What? Mineta freaked out, clearly not following. Did you finally come to your senses? Makuro asked, glaring at Izuku with a mix of annoyance and curiosity. The reason they put you here is because the villains don't know anything about us. They're unaware of our quirks or our weaknesses. Izuku connected the dots, excitement growing in his voice. The boat began to rumble as Izuku glanced down and saw a group of water-based villains attacking it, calling out to the students, "Come out, we won't bite." I don't need to explain my quirk. I don't have one, Makuro said matter-of-factly. What? Izuku's eyes widened in shock. You don't have a quirk? I see. Well. Mineta removed a ball from his head. My quirk allows me to produce these sticky ball. He chuckled. Sticky ball. They can stick to anything, but not to me. He demonstrated by sticking a purple ball to the wall. That's pretty much it. If I use too many, I start to bleed. Makuro eyed Mineta with a hint of disdain, while Izuku showed a mix of concern and interest. Azui simply watched, her expression neutral. I have the quirk of a frog. I can regurgitate my stomach to clean it out. Cold weather doesn't agree with me, Azui explained. There was a brief pause as Izuku looked slightly grossed out, but intrigued by Azui's quirk. It's a good quirk. Guys, you've got to believe me. Izuku waved his hands. Sorry. I'm just thinking of a plan, and your quirk is perfect for it. It is. Mineta's face brightened with hope. Izuku nodded. They can stick to people, right? Mineta confirmed with a nod. Perfect. Izuku grinned. I just had an idea. That being said, using his quirk effectively is key. I can't contribute much beyond combat skills, Makuro remarked, her voice flat and indifferent. Yeah, don't worry, Makuro, you're more than enough. You're perfect in your own way, Izuku said confidently. Azui, we're all going to need each other to pull this off, let's go. As the water-based villains circled the boat, shouting threats, they looked up to see Izuku being held by Azui's tongue, who also had Makuro and Mineta secured. Midoriya, you're incredible, Mineta thought to himself, his newfound confidence showing as he frantically tossed his sticky quirk at the villains. Stay away from me, Ayaha. Half smash. Izuku focused, flicking his fingers, and the force of one for all launched him upward. The shockwave hit the villains, and Mineta's sticky orbs glued them together, immobilizing them in one messy bundle. Izuku splashed into the water, gritting his teeth from the pain shooting through his hand. Whoa, insane, Mineta mumbled, his focus drifting as he accidentally clung to Azui inappropriately. Without missing a beat, Azui dunked Mineta underwater, and Makuro stood nearby, completely unaffected by the chaos. I can't waste any more time here, Makuro said, her voice cold and emotionless. I need to find Sister Junko. What? No, that's too dangerous. We have to stay put until Aizawa-sensei deals with them, Izuku responded, his voice urgent but steady. Our safety comes first. I think we did pretty good, though, Mineta grinned, trying to lighten the mood. For now, we stay alert, Izuku said, his gaze locked on Aizawa, who fought fiercely, taking down villain after villain with precision and skill. This is hard to watch, Izuku muttered, his heart heavy with worry for Aizawa, who was surrounded yet relentless. Ribbit. A lot's happening all at once, Azui added, observing Aizawa's swift, calculated movements as he skillfully dodged and struck down each opponent. Crack. In an instant, the Nomu smashed Aizawa's face into the ground. The sound echoed, sending waves of fear rippling through the students. Izuku's eyes widened in shock, his heart pounding as he stood frozen. The sheer terror and raw power of the creature left him speechless, his mind racing to comprehend the brutality before him. Makuro instinctively took a step back, beads of sweat forming on her forehead as fear, something she rarely allowed herself to feel, began creeping in. Her usually calm, detached demeanor cracked, her muscles tensing with the realization of how dangerous the situation had become. Azui's throat tightened, and even Mineta, who normally found humor in dire moments, was trembling. Guys? Mineta stammered, his voice quivering as he looked around nervously. Did the water get cold? The tension among them was palpable. They were facing something far beyond what they had ever expected. Cold. Izuku whispered to himself, noticing the temperature drop. It's freezing. Ribbit. I don't do well in cold weather. Azui's eyes fluttered, her voice shaky as she struggled to stay conscious. Izuku spun around, his breath catching as he saw the entire lake frozen solid. The ice crept closer, just inches away from where he stood. Oh, what the hell, this doesn't look good, Izuku muttered, his voice low, the gravity of the situation sinking in. Holy SHD, Makuro murmured under her breath, her usual stoic demeanor cracking ever so slightly. Footsteps echoed loudly across the ice, and a woman appeared, standing confidently at the center. Her long, icy blue hair flowed behind her, and her uniform resembled that of a high-ranking commander. High-heeled boots clicked against the frozen ground, her busted figure accentuated by an insignia in the center of her outfit. What this is bad, really bad, Izuku stammered, his heart racing. He glanced back at Makuro, Azui, and Mineta, cold sweat trickling down his face. Makuro, Azui, Mineta Sato, I have to protect everyone. No matter what. His resolve solidified, though the fear gripping him was undeniable. Low-tier villains, defeated by amateurs, the woman muttered to herself, looking down at the group of frozen villains trapped beneath her icy platform. Her eyes gleamed with disdain. Pathetic lowlifes. If you were under my command, you'd face a far crueler punishment. Her gaze shifted, locking onto the green-haired boy standing above the lake. So, you're responsible for this? A dangerous smirk crept across her face. I must admit, it's a decent display of skill. Izuku flinched, fear washing over him as her piercing eyes bore into his soul. She shouldn't be a problem, Makuro said coolly, stepping forward. Her quirk involves ice. Wait, you're going to fight her? Izuku blurted out, panic rising in his voice. We need to wait. She looks experienced, dangerous. Her quirk, it's just like Todoroki's. You sound like an idiot. Fight or die, Makuro replied, her voice emotionless. Izuku gritted his teeth, thinking fast. I'm just saying if we understand her quirk, we might have an advantage. Swoosh. Before Izuku could finish, the woman appeared right in front of him, her speed leaving him breathless. His eyes widened in pure terror. She leaned down, her towering figure casting a dark shadow over him, her icy blue eyes glinting with malice. Makuro's reaction was too slow. The next thing she knew, the woman had her by the throat, lifting her off the ground effortlessly. How? I'll deal with you first, the woman said, her voice dripping with cold amusement. She tossed Makuro aside effortlessly, like discarding a broken toy. The sadistic glint in her eyes betrayed her twisted satisfaction as she watched Makuro slide across the icy floor, grimacing in pain. Makuro slid several feet, gritting her teeth as she steadied herself. The impact rattled her, but her expression remained stoic, eyes narrowing at the woman standing before them. You might as well know my name, the woman called out, her voice echoing across the frozen water. Remember, it is death. I don't play games. Unlike those fools you defeated, you'll die a cold, brutal death. Istetha's presence was overwhelming. Her icy demeanor combined with her sadistic smirk sent chills down Izuku's spine. Before he could react, she launched herself toward Makuro with terrifying speed. Makuro ducked just in time as a fist whizzed past her face, the force of the punch creating a gust of wind. She's faster than Junko, Makuro thought, her heart racing. She clenched her fists, going for a counterattack, only for Isdeth to dodge effortlessly and catch her fist midair. Oh, Isdeth murmured, her icy fingers gripping Makuro's hand tightly. Fighting without power? How? Makuro barely managed, her mind scrambling to process the situation. Power is everything, Isdeth said, her voice dripping with disdain. Those who don't fight with power have none. You are weak. Without warning, Isdeth twisted Makuro's arm and slammed her knee into Makuro's gut, knocking the wind out of her. The weak perish like dirt, Isdeth declared, her tone cold and merciless, as Makuro crumpled to the icy floor, gasping for air. Makuro, Izuku gasped loudly, and he couldn't move an inch. His body was scared. She was different from all the villains he'd seen on TV. She is more serious. She's out for flesh and BLD. Somewhere else, in a storm-battered corner of the city. Izuku, Sato screamed, her voice breaking as she pounded her fist into the wet ground, desperation lacing every syllable. Her cries echoed through the downpour, her world shrinking into a twisted, solitary void. She stumbled forward, her legs shaking with exhaustion, the rain mixing with her tears as thunder roared above. Each step felt heavier, the weight of her thoughts pressing her down. What's the point? She whispered, her voice hollow, lifeless. Her once bright eyes were now clouded with a deranged intensity, darkened by the absence of the one she loved. Clenching her fists, Sato's nails dug into her palms, veins bulging with a maddening pulse. Without you, I'm nothing, but I will find you. I will. My sweet, precious Izuku, my sugar life, she muttered, the words spilling out with a manic determination. I won't lose you. No one will take you from me. Her thumb flicked once, twice, and a third time. Her hand trembled as the flicker of anger swelled into something far more dangerous. The power surged through her, the very air around her crackling with tension as the storm mirrored the fury within. Insanity Candy, her quirk, was awakening, its power fed by her spiraling emotions. Every piece of candy she touched became a weapon, its sweetness twisted into raw strength, speed, and agility beyond human limits. The recommended dose was 2 candies, but Sato? She didn't care about limits. Not anymore. I'll kill them all. Anyone who dares to hurt you, I'll destroy them. I will. No one is taking you from me. Ever Sato screamed, her voice trembling with manic intensity. In front of her stood Yuno, eyes cold and focused. Yuno spoke, her voice low and husky, almost a whisper. Her steps slowed as her gaze met Sato's. Sato halted as well, the tension between them thick in the air. Izuku, Yuno muttered softly, her head lowering as she walked towards Sato with deliberate, measured steps. You're in the way of my love for Izuku. And for that I'm going to kill you. I'm going to enjoy every second of it. In Yuno's hand gleamed a bloodied axe, its edge still wet with crimson BLD. Her deranged eyes locked onto Sato's, a twisted challenge burning in her stare. Sato's gaze flickered to the axe, then back to Yuno. Her lips curled into a dangerous smile, eyes wide with unhinged determination. For Izuku, just this once. I'll use you to protect him. Her voice cracked, teetering on the edge of madness, but there was a sinister clarity beneath it. So, Sato's voice dripped with malice as she tightened her grip, the mania breaking through. I'll kill you some other time. For now, our darling is all that matters. Yuno chuckled darkly, her back now turned to Sato. I can't wait. Her voice grew more deranged with each word, a psychotic grin spreading across her face. I can't wait for the day Izuku calls me his. Her chuckle spiraled into a full-blown, hysterical laugh, a sound that echoed with pure, unfiltered insanity. In a rocky, landslide-prone area, Junko wailed, her frustration evident. OMG, OMG, my nails, useless nurse stank. Fix them now. Her voice was thick with exasperation. Maki, her foot firmly planted on the head of a defeated villain, muttered with a hint of disdain, being a hero SCKS. It's so much simpler to just eliminate them. Mikan hugged herself tightly, tears streaming down her face. Her sobs and cries created a chaotic symphony of fear and despair, her composure shattered completely. Oh, for goodness sake, are you seriously crying over that boy? Junko sighed, her tone a mix of exasperation and twisted curiosity as she glanced at Mikan. Is Izuku really that special to you? Special, huh? Maki sighed, her tone tinged with defensiveness. You're forgetting he's just a quirkless boy who inherited the power of the #1 hero. He may seem special, but he's important, she said firmly, her voice carrying a trace of concern. Does Maki have a little crush? Junko teased, her face twisting into a mischievous W expression. That's just adorable. Shut up, I never said he was important to me, Maki snapped, her frustration evident as she bit her lip and her face flushed slightly. You're forgetting we need to find him before he encounters a villain he's never faced one before. You sound worried, Junko observed with a hint of amusement, glancing at Maki before shifting her attention to Mikan. He's a big boy. He can handle himself, she said, shrugging off the concern. She grabbed Mikan by the arm, her demeanor a mix of casual disregard and cold curiosity. Pull yourself together, or I'll rip those melons right off your chest, got it? Junko snapped at Mikan, her voice dripping with menace. But you look so cute, all depressed over a boy who doesn't even like you back. This kind of despair is something you don't usually see. Shut up, unless you want to die, Maki spat back, her tone cold and cutting. Did that feel targeted? Junko mocked, her voice laced with a cruel, playful edge. Junko dragged the sobbing Mikan by the arm while Maki maintained a vigilant watch, her eyes scanning the surroundings as they searched for the central area where they suspected Izuku might be. Izuku, Maki called out, glancing around with concern. I don't know where you are, but I hope you aren't too far. This is terrible. Please, you're the only person I don't want dead. Junko dragged the distraught Mikan, who continued to sob and beg for Izuku, her patience wearing thin. She sighed in annoyance, her eyes narrowing as a spark of realization crossed her face. She mused to herself, a twisted grin forming. I just realized I'm actually dependent on Izuku too. He's, well, not exactly special. But he's my key to the greatest despair I could ever experience. He's literally the key to it all. If he doesn't survive, then he's just a useless dumbass, a nerd, a complete waste of my time. Mikan's mumbling suddenly stopped. Mikan shoved herself forward, her eyes streaming with tears as she sobbed and begged. Izuku, no, 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 I. Listen, if you keep shouting like that, You'll attract villains, Maki called out as she watched Mikan run past her. Junko's eyes glinted with a mix of amusement and irritation as she observed Mikan's desperate display. When things were finally going well for me, everything I held dear, I found my person, my first friend, and now I can't lose him. He's my prince, my hope. My God, I won't accept this. This can't be it, Mikan cried out, her voice trembling with frustration and panic. I'll heal you if you're hurt. You need me. You. She's not listening. Maki held a hand to her forehead. I'll have to shut her up. She's making our job even harder than it needs to be if she keeps screaming and crying like that. Junko chuckled darkly. Look, she's attracted some tough thugs, Junko said, pointing toward the approaching group. Despair, perhaps giving a villain despair. They're perfect. Her eyes widened with malicious delight as a cunning plan formed in her mind. DM Mikan, don't make this harder than it already is. Izuku won't survive if you keep acting like this. Maki's eyes flashed with determination. She dashed forward silently, her footsteps barely making no sound. In a swift, decisive move, Maki reached Mikan and struck the back of her head, knocking her out cold. Cradling Mikan's unconscious form in her arms, Maki murmured urgently, Izuku, please wait for us. Just a little longer, and we'll find you. So, this was the end of part 6 of this series. Stay tuned for next part of this series, and if you like this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Until next time.